Hey, sorry, I didn't realize I was already recording because not used to this anymore. Okay, I am going to go over the problems that most of you missed, like I would do if I were in class. So I went over the data. I just graded the tests today after y'all got finished taking them. And I am going to go over the 6 most missed questions. And so this will be on Google Classroom, of course, you know that because you're already there, but you are going to be working these problems on that sheet that I always give you now. So the very first one that I want to do is number 19. And here's what I found out about number 19. Um, Only 6 of you got it correct. So that means that I don't think that it's that we don't understand this part because we went over that whenever we were working in our small groups yesterday or stations to review. And so I believe that y'all understand that part. It seems to me like the real issue here is that we are struggling with keeping up with all the money whenever we're counting it. So today on your paper, I want you to do whatever it is that I'm doing here. And so we are actually going to break apart how to count this money because, again, if that many people missed it, then we have to revisit it. It's just not something that we can skim on past. So it says, Alana counted out the money in her 4 piggy banks. Which piggy bank had a total amount that has a 2 with the value of 2 cents? So we talked about this whenever we were working in our groups the other day, but just to stick with our strategies that we always do. Remember, we do all of these things because slowing down helps us think about it a little bit deeper, make sure we're not just jumping to conclusions on what steps we need to take to solve. So again, let me read it one more time. Alana counted out the money in her 4 piggy banks. That's why there are 4 of these, by the way. Which piggy bank had a total amount that has a 2 with the value of 2 cents? So remember, whatever it is, we're going to have some dollars and we're going to have some cents. It doesn't matter what's going on over here. And over here, it really only matters that we have a 2 right here. Because if the 2 is right here, then that is 2 cents. So it doesn't matter if it's 32 or 72 or 02 or 52 or whatever it may be, as long as the 2 is here in the cents place. So let's go through counting these money amounts. So first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to mark them off as I count them. So I know it's hard to kind of see my pencil there, but I am going to mark off those $2 bills first. So I've got $2. We write it like that when we're counting money. And then I'm just going to look at different coins. I'm going to group the coins together, but I'm going to just be looking just for quarters first and just for dimes after that, that kind of thing. So if I look here, I see no quarters, so I didn't have to count any quarters. Next biggest is the dimes, and there's a dime. That's 1 dime. So 1 dime is 10 cents. I'm going to write down 10 cents right here. And then after that, my next largest coin amount, the value, is a nickel. And here's a nickel, that's 5, and this is also a nickel, that's 5 more. So 5 and 5 more is 10. And then I have pennies left, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pennies. And so that looks like this. So I go through now and I add those up because I've marked off everything, so I know I'm done counting. So there's the 5, there's a 2, and there's a 2. So $2.25 should be that one. Now I can already tell you, unless I counted that wrong, it does not have a 2 with the value of 2 cents. It has a 2 in the dollar spot, like in the 1 spot. It has a 2 in this tenths spot, but it doesn't have a 2 in the cent spot where I need it to be. So that should not be my answer. Okay, moving on to this next one, I'm going to count them the same way. So again, you should have all of this stuff written out like this on your paper in that little box. You don't have to draw the coins, of course, but everything else you should do. So I'm going to count these dollar bills. That's 4 of them, so $4. And then I'm going to start with quarters. There's 1, just 1, so 25 cents there. And then dimes are next. I have 10, 20. Yep, that's all of those. And then nickels, I have 5, 10. And pennies, I have 1, 2. Again, I've got them all written down now as I scratch them off. I make sure I scratched all of them off, and then I'm going to add them up. So over here in this spot, I've got 5 plus 2, that's 7. Here I've got 2, 3, 4, 5. and here I've got a 4. So I've got nothing, no 2s at all. So unless, whoops, sorry. So unless I did something terribly wrong, that one can't be it either. Okay, next. Next we have $1, $2, $3. So $3. Then I'll look for quarters first. I don't see any quarters there. Then I've got dimes next. I've got 10. That's it. Just one dime. So 10 cents. Nickels, I have 5, 10, 15. That's all of those. And then pennies, yikes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 cents of that. So then when I go through and add them up, 5 plus 7 is 12. And then 1, 2, 3. So $3.32. Yeah, that should be it. So this should be my answer. Let me go back though and check this one. This one says $1, $2, $3. So $3. No quarters, but then I've got 10, 20, and 5 cents, just 1 nickel and 1 penny. And so that's a 6, that's a 2, and that's a 3. So again, it's got a 2 in it at least, but it's in the tenths spot, not in the hundreds, which would be the cents spot. So that one is also not it. So C is the correct answer. And again, just as a reminder, if you got C, that's great. I really am happy that you got C, if you got it. But if you didn't, there's no way that you counted out at least C's money, right? You might have counted out all these other money ones, right? But you didn't count this one out, right? Or else you would have chosen that as your answer. So on the next test or homework or warm-up or whatever we have, this problem should take everybody a good chunk of time, because I need for you to be doing this, whether you got it right just now or whether you didn't get it right just now. I need for you to be solving it this way, because enough of us are struggling with it, and so this is what we're going to go back to, is counting out all those money amounts separately to make sure that we're not like skip counting wrong in our head. I do that all the time. So I wouldn't want you to do that. Okay, that one was the longest one. Let's get to these other ones, though, that plenty of people miss. Let's go to number 15 next. Let's scoot this up. So here's number 15. Number 15 says, Haley did 8/12 of her math homework over the weekend. She completed 3/12 of her homework on Saturday. What fraction of the homework did she complete on Sunday? So we've got 8/12 and 3/12. They're asking us about Sunday. Oh, it doesn't say Sunday anywhere else in there. Okay. Fraction, I guess. Okay, so let me read it one more time. Haley did 8/12 of her math homework over the weekend. She completed 3/12 of her homework on Saturday. What fraction of her homework did she complete on Sunday? Well, it's asking me about Sunday, and the word problem part of it doesn't say Sunday anywhere. But if I go back up to this first sentence, it says she did this much over the weekend. Well, Saturday is part of the weekend and Sunday is part of the weekend. So both of those, Saturdays, whatever, that somebody's doing Saturday stuff, Sunday stuff, put them together, it's the weekend. So here's how I want to start this. Remember, we talked whenever we were working in stations, where if we have something that doesn't give us some sort of picture, I need us to draw something. So you should have drawn something, and I told y'all, for me, this is the easiest because I don't have to worry about making things look so perfect. But if I had 12ths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, yeah, 12ths. It says she did 8/12 of her homework over the weekend. So I'm going to put a W. Weekend, 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 weekend. 6, 7, 8, yes. So that's 8/12. Here's the thing though. It says she completed 3/12 of the homework on Saturday. And some of y'all chose A as your answer because you put an S and an S and an S for Saturday's days. Remember, Saturday is really part of the weekend, so it doesn't need to have its own spots. I'm just going to say, okay, well, this weekend day is a Saturday. this weekend day is a Saturday, and this weekend day is a Saturday. Because it said 3/12 of it was on Saturday. So if it says what fraction of the homework did she complete on Sunday, well, I know it has to be these other weekend days because that's the only other day of the week that falls on the weekend. So that means this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one are all of the Sunday days that she did homework. So that's 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, 4/12, 5/12. So C should have been the correct answer. Again, so 15 was our second question that we did. So you should have 15 written on that paper, and you should have written out everything that I just wrote out. So if you've just been watching, pause this video and go ahead and write that out. Because remember, that's what you would do if I was in class with you right now. You would be writing whatever I wrote on your paper in that box. So do that. Also put C and box it in so that in case you missed it in a little bit, you can put that, you can circle that answer with your pen. Okay, next, number 12. Number 12. Okay, now number 12 confused me. I mean, it confused me that so many of y'all missed it, and here's why. When I read it the first time, never mind, let me just read it for you. It says, Isis made 96 pictures to give to her friends. She placed 4 stars on each picture. How many total stars did she place in this picture? Or on the pictures, sorry. So we circle, box, underline, box. Now, almost everybody did that part. That was not a problem. We know how to do that. But the issue was almost everybody also did a get model. If you didn't, shame on you, because you see an each, and you see that there's no decimals, there's only 2 numbers, so that's where we start with the get model. But if I go back to it and it says Isis made 96 pictures to give to her friends, remember, if that's not where the each is, and we do have an each in there, let's do the each first, because that'll help us set up the words here. And that's still what a lot of you that are missing it are not doing. I'm going to show you why. If you would have done that, I think that you would have gotten this answer right if you missed it. It says she placed 4 stars on each picture. So there's my each. So I'm going to do 4 stars. And remember, if it says on each picture, then I'm going to put pick up there for picture. We know what that is. But also, I've said it 1 billion times, I believe. But stars goes here, then that means this has to be stars down here. So if I look, I've put the 4 in there. I've also got 96 circled, and it says Isis made 96 pictures to give to her friends. Well, a lot of you put 96 down here and chose A as your answer. But I don't know why. If you would have labeled it like this, you would know that that doesn't need to be stars. It's not 96 stars. The question's asking me how many total stars. So that means I don't know that. So I need to put 96 up here in my groups. There are 96 pictures and each of them have 4 stars on them. So now that I've got that set up, remember when I'm missing my total, that means I multiply these 2 numbers. So my last step is going to be to line these up and multiply them. So 6 times 4 is 24. And then 9 times 4 is 36, 37, 38 when I regroup. So B. So again, all of that should have been written down while you were watching the video. If you didn't, then pause it right now and write that down. Number 12. Excuse me. Okay, next. Number 3. Flip back and test for you. Number 3. Right down there at the bottom. Okay, number 3 says, AJ had 4 boxes of baseball cards. Each box contained 328 cards. He bought some albums to store the cards in, and he can place 8 cards on each page. How many pages does he need to store all of his cards? So let me circle and box in and all that stuff so that they can jump out to me when I reread it. Okay, it says, again, I'm just going to reread it So that those things are what's important and I can figure out what my next step is. It says AJ had 4 boxes of baseball cards. Each box contained 328 cards. He bought some albums to store the cards in, and he can place 8 cards on each page. How many pages does he need to store all of his cards? So he's got some boxes of baseball cards. In every box, there's a lot of baseball cards. 328 is what that says. But then it says he bought some albums so that he can put those cards into. So he's going to take all those boxes of cards, and then he's going to split them up into these albums. So if I want to know what my first steps are, I see 3 different numbers are circled, which means I'm either going to have to mark something off or I'm going to have to do more than one step. So I'm just going to start at the top and see if there's anything I can do with those first 2. AJ had 4 boxes of baseball cards. Each box contained 328 cards. I can stop right there. I've got an each. Both of them are talking about boxes and cards. So I'm going to go ahead and do a get model. So go ahead and do this on your paper also. Your get model. Okay, where it says each, it says each box contained 328 cards. So again, I'm putting the number, but then I'm also putting my words, my label. It said 328 cards were in each box. Each box contained that. So this up here is going to be my boxes. Now remember, if my each is cards, then my total is also going to be cards. And so if I go back up, then AJ had 4 boxes. Well, this 4 boxes goes here in the boxes spot. So then I am looking for the total number of cards that he had first. So I'm going to take these 2 numbers, and since I'm missing my total, remember that means I multiply those 2 together to get my total. So 328 times 4. 8 times 4 is 32. 2 times 4 is 8, and then 8, 9, 10, 11 is there. 3 times 4 is 12, and then 12 plus 1 more is 13. Wow, that's a lot of cards, y'all. 1,312 cards. That's how many cards he has. Now, we're not finished yet. It says he bought some albums to store the cards in. So he bought some albums for all those cards. It says he can place 8 cards on each page. Well, again, there's another each. And we've got a total number of cards, and we've got how many cards can go on each page. And they're going to ask me about how many pages he needs. So let's do another, another get model. And again, now I'm working with this part. I'm working with the 1,312 cards and 8 cards on each page. So I'm going to start with my each. So this is 8 cards. This time it's not talking about boxes though. It says 8 cards on each page. So that means up here, this needs to be pages. Okay, and if that is cards, this is cards. And I know my total number of cards, 1,312 cards. So if I know my total and I know my each, but I don't know my groups, the question's asking me how many pages he needs to store all of his cards, then I need to take these 2 numbers and I'm going to divide them. So last step, 1,312 divided by 8. Okay, on the 8th row, when I go over, there's nothing that's close to 1 without going over. So I do that. Then I've got on the 8th row, as close as I get to 13 without going over is just 8. So I'll put a 1 up there because 1 times 8 equals 8. When I subtract that, that's a 5. And I move it over, so now I have 51 there. Okay, on the 8th row, as close as I get to 51 without going over is 48. And when I go up from that, that's a 6, because 6 times 8 is 48. And I subtract, and that's a 3. So then on my 8th row, as close as I get to 32 without going over is 32. and that's 4 times 8 is 32. So, yay, I didn't have to worry about what to do with the remainder or figure out any of that stuff. It's just 164 pages. So that's what that should be. Okay, 2 more. Sorry, y'all. I don't know why I keep doing that. Okay, number 11. So put number 11 in the next box. Number 11. It says, Danielle drew a rectangle with an area of 48 square centimeters. The length of the rectangle is 8 centimeters. What is the width of the rectangle? So again, now we know that she drew a rectangle. There's no rectangle here, so let's go ahead and draw that. It has an area of 48 square centimeters. Area equals 48 square centimeters. The length, or the long side, is going to be 8 centimeters. And then they're asking me about this width. Well, here's the thing. If I look at my answer choices, I can go ahead and start marking some stuff off automatically. Like, it's impossible for me to either add them all up or multiply anything with 8 and get to 48. If it's bigger than 48, that's crazy. Same thing here. Like, what? 544, no way. So now I'm left with these two. And so I have to remember for area what my operation is going to be. So for area, remember my operation is that I take a long side and a short side and I multiply them. So we're saying 8 times something gives me 48. Because it's area, not perimeter, area. So 8 times something gives me 48. Well, if I look at my multiplication chart on the 8ths row, if I go over, I will get to 48. And when I go up from that, it's 6. Because 8 times 6 is 48. So B. B, 6 centimeters. Okay, last one. A similar one, actually. Not the same at all, but similar, because it's dealing with shapes. Here's what it says. Jaden drew a rectangle that has a perimeter of 126 inches. The length of his rectangle is 39 inches. What is the width of his rectangle? So again, we've got a rectangle, again. This time we know the perimeter is 126 inches. We know the length is 39 inches. And they're asking us about the width of it. So again, I've got a rectangle that I don't see a picture of, so that should have been your first step, which I think most of you did that. Shame on you if you didn't. But this time it tells us that the perimeter is 126. Again, it gives us the length, or the long side. It says it is 39, so 39 here, 39 here. And then it says, what is the width of the rectangle? So, for perimeter, remember, we just did an area problem. An area is when we multiply those two things. For perimeter, I have to add up all of my sides to find the perimeter. So, just so we're clear, whether it's perimeter or area, my answer out here cannot be bigger than 126. And some of you chose an answer bigger than 126. Ugh. It can't be bigger than 126. That's the total. So let's look and see what we do here. Excuse me. Remember, the first step that we have is if we're going to add up all the sides, well, we don't know how to add up a question mark. So let's just add up these two sides that we do already know. So 39 plus 39. 9 plus 9 is 18. And that is 78. And then after that, my next step is, if I know the total perimeter, well, I know this side plus this side plus this side plus this side equals this. So if I know just what this side and this side is, and I want to figure out what these two sides are, I'm going to take my total and I'm going to take away what I already added up. So 126 minus 78. And then I'll start subtracting. Well, I can't do 6 minus 8. That's impossible. So then I do 16 minus 8. That's 8. Can't do 1 minus 7. But I can do 11 minus 7. That's 48. Now, still, a couple of you chose 48 as your answer. And remember, if you choose 48, what you're saying is this side is 48 and this side is 48. And if you go back and you add those up, 39 plus 48 plus 39 plus 48, it's not going to give you this. It's going to be too big. So my last step is I'm saying this side and this side, when I put them together, equals this 48 that I was left with. So I need to split 48 up into 2 parts. Now, if you were able to do this in your head, that's great. Some of you were, and I'm baffled by it because I can't do that. So for those of you that are like me, remember, if we see a number and we don't know what it is split in half, we divide it into 2 parts. So 48 divided by 2. So on the 2's row, as close as I get to 4 without going over is 4. That works. And here it is 8. So we've got that. So this should be my answer, because if I put 24 here and 24 here, if I add up 24 plus 39 plus 24 plus 39, I get 126. Okay, remember, keep a hold of that paper because you're going to turn it in whenever you turn in all of your test corrections in a little bit. So if you didn't have any more to correct, but some that we did together, that's awesome. You're going to need to go through and write the correct answer in there. And then after that, you will turn in this and your test corrections to the basket so that I can grade them. Thanks, guys.